Hello, Luis here, and welcome to my guide on the home buying process. In this video, I'm going to guide you through all of the steps from the contingencies and inspections to the appraisals, to the loan approval, and finally to the closing. So let's get started. Step number one is deciding to buy a home. This by far is probably the most difficult step. Step number two is to fill out a loan application. So once you complete your loan application and submit all of the required documentation, I can process your pre-approval. And depending on your credit, your income, and your down payment, I will issue a pre-approval letter. Once you have your pre-approval letter in hand, this is the fun part because now you get to go shopping with your realtor. Step number four, making offers. So let's just say that you find the home that you love. Your realtor is going to draft up the offer based on the terms that you discuss. And then you'll sign the offer, and then the offer will be submitted to the seller's agent. Now, as far as the type of terms, it could vary from close of escrow timeframes to inspection contingencies, appraisal contingencies, loan contingencies, seller concessions, and many other. Once your offer on your property is accepted and you're in contract, it's time to deal with the contingencies. Now, these are clauses in your contract that must be met in order for the sale to proceed. Common contingencies include a finance, appraisal, and inspection contingency. During this period, you have the right to back out of the contract if any of these contingencies are not met. For example, let's say that the appraisal doesn't come in at value or at the purchase price value. So because you have this contingency in place, you're able to walk away without losing your deposit. So all these contingencies, whether it's an inspection contingency, a loan contingency, or an appraisal, it's there to protect your earnest money deposit that you place up front. And this is the time when you get your inspections completed. Now, what's an inspection? Well, this is when a professional inspector comes to the property and checks for any issues such as structural damage, plumbing or electrical issues, or other potential problems. This is your opportunity to know exactly what you are buying and potentially renegotiate the deal if significant issues are found. At this point, we move on to step number 6, which are the initial disclosures. So this basically means that I take the property address from the purchase contract and I insert it into the pre-approval loan application. Once I do that, I review the current interest rate and I disclose all my fees. By signing these initial disclosures, you're basically telling me and giving me permission to move forward with the loan. It's called the intent to proceed. At this point, we may lock the rate or do something that's called floating the rate, waiting for the market to improve, if we can see that there's a potential for improvement. And also by signing these disclosures, we're able to move to step number 7, which is ordering the appraisal, which is important for step number 5, the contingencies. So once we have the intent to proceed signed from the disclosures, we order the appraisal and then we wait for that to come back. Sometimes the appraisers get out there within a couple of days. Sometimes it takes 3-4 days. Keep in mind that we need to make sure that the property is worth the price you've agreed to pay for. So an appraiser will visit the property and determine its value based on a number of factors, including comparable sales in the area, the condition of the property, and if this is a rental, the income potential of all the units. While we're waiting on the appraisal to come back, we continue to move forward on the loan side. So we submit everything that we have, including the purchase contract, updated pay stubs, updated W-2s, bank statements, whatever we feel is needed for submission, and we send it to underwriting. Now, the underwriter is going to take the loan program and make sure that this loan meets all of the requirements for that particular loan program. Once the underwriter reviews everything and checks everything off, then they issue what's called a loan approval. At this point, your loan is approved. Typically, it's going to be a conditional approval where you still need the appraisal because we don't have that back, or there may be other items that are required, but they will be listed on that loan approval. Step number 10 is where we look to remove the contingencies. So this is where you review the appraisal, make sure that it is at value. Any repairs that need to be made, this is where they get negotiated as well. Any inspection repairs that need to happen, this is where it happens. Once you're all happy with the inspections, the appraisal value, the repairs being completed, then we can remove the contingencies. Step number 11, this is where we go to clear to close. And it basically means that the underwriter is going to review the appraisal, the inspections. They're going to review everything to make sure that it has been cleared. All repairs have been made per the contract. and per the agreement. At this point, once we get that clear to close, which is, those are magic words, by the way, and then we move on to step number 12, which is time to sign. So at this point, escrow, which is a neutral third party that helps manage the entire process, they're going to draft up their own documents, and then they're going to combine them with our loan documents, and then they're going to set up a time to sign. Once you sign all the final documents and deposit your final funds to close, then escrow will give us a green light to allow us to fund the loan. At this point, we're going to wire the funds to escrow. Escrow is then going to take our funds along with your down payment, along with any other fees that need to be added or subtracted, and they're going to do something that's called disperse, where they pay the seller, they pay the appraisal, they pay everybody involved. And at that point, we're ready to record. Recording is where you take the deed of trust and the grant deed and you record it with the county. At that point, the keys are yours and the transaction is finalized.